Plants. We often interact with them and we think of them whenever someone mentions the environment or an ecosystem. They are those green things that make life on Earth possible. After all, they are the producers of oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. Even though we associate life on Earth with the plants that surround us on land, it is often overlooked that plants are just as important in aquatic ecosystems as they are in terrestrial ones. In aquatic environments, water is the medium that provides nutrients and support for growth. Each species has adapted a unique lifestyle to survive under these conditions. The first group are those plants that are rooted in the bottom and extend beyond the water's surface into the air. These are known as the emergent plants and are found in the shallow, near-shore littoral zone. Second are those plants whose leaves are found on the water's surface, known as floating-leaved plants. Both of these lifestyles allow these plants to utilize atmospheric CO2 instead of competing for the gas that is dissolved in the water. Beneath the water lies two groups, including submergent, rooted species, as well as free-floating plants, which spend their lives at the mercy of the currents. Aquatic macrophytes, just like terrestrial plants, provide oxygen that supports life within the ecosystem. In addition to this, they are important for providing habitat for other aquatic organisms. Many fish utilize aquatic plants as rearing habitat for their young. Also, aquatic insects use the masses of growth for cover. Generally, an ecosystem with a healthy macrophyte community will have a much higher biodiversity than one that is clean and clear of plant growth. Plants can also affect the physical parameters of an ecosystem. They can slow water currents in a loading system, contributing to sedimentation. In order to better understand a lake or pond, understanding the plant community is very important. Some very simple harvesting tools can be used in order to survey aquatic macrophyte communities. A rake or grappling hook is commonly utilized and can be fashioned from standard gardening tools. The most important thing is that equipment remains standard throughout a survey so that any calculation of relative abundance is accurate. The head of a hard-tined garden rake works well, attached to a line and weighted to ensure that it reaches the plant life beneath the surface. Multiple sites of varying depths should be sampled. Specimens should be stored in Ziploc bags and kept on ice until they can be keyed out later. After a little practice, identifying macrophytes in the field would become quite easy. Plants can also be preserved by the process known as pressing. This is done by placing plants between two sheets of paper and then placing the paper between heavy weights. The plant is then dried and becomes flattened and is able to be kept for quite a while. Sometimes plants become a nuisance, and lake users wish to see them removed. There are a couple of options to remove plants from an ecosystem. Active removal can be performed either by hand, utilizing nothing more than people picking plants and disposing of them, or some sort of chain or dredge that drags up plants from the bottom. Beyond this, mechanical harvesters or suction dredges can sometimes be used. These are usually used in a large scale where mass removal is wanted. A more passive and preventative system involves installing benthic barriers that lay on the bottom and prevent plant growth from taking root. Macrophytes are an important part of aquatic ecosystems, and it is essential that their role is understood. While they can be perceived as a nuisance, their presence is often the sign of a healthy system. Taking some time to survey and manage plant communities can help improve the health of lakes and ponds, as well as bolsters users' enjoyment.